Good morning, second English students. We will continue the lesson decolonizing the mind by Ngugi wa Thiong'o. Okay, so the title significance. In the previous video itself, you would have understood the title significance, that is decolonizing the mind. So already we decolonized our nation, and we decolonized our politics, and we got political independence, but still we all need to decolonize our mind. And so still how we are still how our mind is colonized. That's what we discussed. And now so in the previous video, Gikuyu, the Kenyan language, and in that language there are many stories as oral literature. Okay, it was not written, all the stories were not written in palm leaf or in printed books. Rather, everything is the oral literature, and they carry out those stories from one generation to another generation. And that's how that language survived. And the author Thiong'o, Ngugi wa Thiong'o, critically analyzed those stories. Okay, and now we shall continue the lesson. Ngugi wa Thiong'o, actually he was living in that way, maybe 5 or 6 years he was living in this way, working in the field, and then listening to stories. His life was enjoyable. Okay, and there was no pressure in his work in the field, and he actually enjoyed that life. But problem, even when he joined schools, there was no problem. Okay, he joined 2 schools. Okay, during the first 4 years of his life. Okay, he happened to join 2 schools. In those 2 schools, he used his mother tongue. Okay, he did not use English language. He used only his mother tongue, and he had pleasant use of his mother tongue, Gikuyu. Okay, there also no problem. But problem came when, in 1952. In Kenya in 1952, the emergency period was over, and when the emergency period was over, he happened to join a colonial school. Okay, colonial school, that is the school which is administered by British people. Okay, when it is a British school, it is a colonial. When it is a colonial school, naturally they give importance to English language and Western culture and Western system of education, and it is what implemented in most of the schools in Kenya. Okay, so in 1952 he joined a colonial school, and there came the problem. And in that school, no one can speak Gikuyu language. That is in their own mother tongue. No one can speak their mother tongue in that school. In case they speak their mother tongue, that is Gikuyu language, the students face lots of humiliating punishment. Severe punishment were given to the students who spoke in Gikuyu language, that is their mother tongue. Okay, so what kind of punishments they were given? The students who spoke in their mother tongue, that is Gikuyu language. First one is strokes of a cane on the buttocks. Okay, so the first kind of punishment, severe punishment, is when they speak in the mother tongue. So 5 strokes of a cane. They take a stick, that is cane, and they give 5-8 strokes on the buttocks, and that is the first punishment. And then they have to carry a metal plate, and in that metal plate it is written, I am a donkey or I am a stupid. Okay, so these were written on the metal plate, and they have to carry and they have to go around the school. Okay, so that is, I am a stupid, I am a donkey, like that. They have to carry a metal plate and they have to go around the school. This is the second punishment. And the third kind of punishment is they have to pay unaffordable money. They have to pay a fine. If they talk in their mother tongue, they have to pay a fine, and which is unaffordable for the poor students. Okay, so this is the third kind of punishment, and they follow a system. Okay, in that school, they follow a system. What kind of system is that? The teacher will give a button to a student, and that student will observe other student, and if any one of the students, if anyone talks in mother tongue, then he will give the button to that student. Okay, and that student should observe. If anyone talks in mother tongue, and if anyone talks in mother tongue, then he will give the button to that particular student, and that particular student will search for the student who talks in mother tongue, and that's how the button is circulated. Okay, and the class leader will make a list of who is talking in their mother tongue. Okay, and that is how English is enforced on the students. Okay, that's how English is made practice to the students. Okay, but actually this practice made the students to be a traitor to their mother tongue. Okay, so this practice made the students to think ill of their mother tongue, and they themselves happen to treat their own mother tongue as inferior to English language. Okay, so this is a wrong one, and this is a wrong system of education, and that's what the author Tiago is saying to us. Okay, and so the colonial system of education, the Western system of education, follows a pyramid structure. Okay, they follow a pyramid structure. Let's say, we shall take primary education, English, Tamil, Maths, Science, Social. These are said to be the primary subjects we have to study at the secondary school level. Okay, so we study all the subjects, both language and maths, science, social we study, and in higher studies we focus more on either we can select a science subject or art subject, and then in degree we focus on let's say, of course ours is an integrated course. We study both education as well as English, but still it is the structure, the pyramid structure is followed. We focus only on English as well as on education, and we don't study maths or science subject. We simply focus on English and education alone. Okay, and then if you go for PG studies, it is further focused. We focus only on English, and then we focus in PhD. We focus only on one particular topic of English. Okay, so that is the pyramid structure we follow. That is the Western type of education. Okay, so the knowledge is focused. That is one thing, but the problem is the number of seats, the number of colleges available, the availability of a number of schools and colleges. Okay, so the statistics say that let's say as far as Tamil Nadu is concerned, 70% of the secondary school space were for 70% of the higher secondary school are available as per the population of secondary school. Okay, so say for example, there are 100 students passed in SSLC examination. 100 students passed. Okay, all the 100 students they cannot be placed but the higher secondary education. Plus and plus 2, all the students who have passed but the standard level are not given seats to continue their higher secondary education. Even though the 30% of the students, even though they passed in secondary SSLC, they cannot continue their education, okay, because of the poor marks. Okay, if there are enough number of schools available, then all the students who pass SSLC, they can continue plus 1 plus 2. But that is not the situation of Tamil Nadu and Tamil Nadu as well as India. In case of India, this is worse. Only 30% of the students only go for plus 1 and plus 2. That is the reality. Okay, and even when they clear higher secondary education, all the students who pass plus 2 examination, they cannot continue their, or not all, only 30% of the students who pass higher secondary plus 2 examination, 30% only can go for college or at least for their diploma. Okay, so for remaining, they simply they have to lead their life as a plus 2 student. So that is the reality, and that is the pyramid structure, and this itself is horrible, and those who want to continue for higher education, they cannot go. Okay, but the only positive thing is that the parents or children, if they want to continue go for school, at least primary education, they can go, and that is the only positivity. But we cannot be satisfied by that alone. We all the students, all the children should have the facility of continuing higher secondary education, even at the college education. That should be the case, but that is not done in practical. But in practical, as far as India is concerned, all over India, they can complete their primary education. Okay, that is done. Even if you do not have money, even and if you live in poverty, you go to school, and in school you are provided food. At least one time lunch is provided to you, and thus you can go for primary education. But for secondary education and higher secondary education, then there is a problem in India. So, I am talking about the pyramid structure, the advantages and disadvantages of the pyramid structure. And because of this pyramid structure in Kenya, many students suffer. Okay, and let me tell you that unanimously in all the colleges, English is the medium of instruction. Okay, except the regional language, Tamil or Malayalam, BA English, BA Tamil literature, BA Malayalam literature, that is the exception. But all other education is only in English medium of instruction. Okay, so now the problem is those who struggle to learn English language, they cannot continue their higher studies. They cannot continue. They cannot go for college education. Okay, so this is the reality in India as well as in Kenya. Okay, so in Kenya also this is a pyramid structure they have, and they cannot have their higher education or college education in their own mother tongue. Okay, so because of this, if we or the author, the Kenyans do not have skills in English, they cannot have higher education. Okay, so that is the reality. Okay, so the students, all the students should clear the papers only in English. If they fail in English, then they cannot continue their higher education. Okay, so in schools, even today, I mean, this is the Western education. Okay, see, if you take SSLC or a plus 2 examination, even if you fail in one subject, you are failed, that's all. Only in college, you can, what is it, you can clear the paper in the next semester. Okay, so see, if you, there are 7 papers you studied in first semester. If you fail in one paper, you can clear the paper in the next semester. Okay, so but in case of SSLC, and if you fail in one paper, you are failed. That's all. Okay, so that is the situation of the Western system of education. Okay, so of course only these days only it is. I mean, after in 52 itself, this system is introduced. I mean, I forgot. University Grant Commission (UGC) implemented this one in 1952 itself. That is, if they fail in public examination, only one paper. If you again you can go for apply, you can write only that particular subject and you can pass. See, suppose I fail in maths in SSLC, and after 6 months I have to wait for 6 months and apply for that particular subject alone. And if I clear maths subject, then I got a certificate. Okay, so but before 1952, if I fail in one subject, I have to write all the 5 subjects. Okay, so this is the situation, and this is the situation in Kenya also. They don't have a UGC like India, so this is a problem. If they fail in even single paper, they cannot continue their education. Okay, so the point is they are following the Western type of education, that is pyramid system, and even if they fail in one single paper, and they cannot continue their higher education, and so the problem is that even though the students are intelligent, just because they do not know English language, they cannot continue their higher education. So this is the plight of Kenyans. Okay, and the author Thiong'o Ngugi wa Thiong'o, and he personally knows a boy who scored all the marks in distinction. But unfortunately, he failed in only one paper, that is an English paper, and he cannot continue his higher education, and he works as a bus stand boy. Okay, that is assistant in bus. Okay, so thus his intelligence, everything is spoiled because of English language. Okay, though he is absolutely intelligent boy, just because he doesn't have skill in English language, he failed in English subject, he cannot continue his higher education. Okay, and the author Ngugi wa Thiong'o, he scored only low marks, but he scored low marks in all the subjects. He cleared all the paper. Okay, and he got placed in elitist institution, that is colonial higher education, elite people study, and there he is placed, though he got only poor marks. Okay, so this is the situation of Kenya, and like that boy, there are many students who are very intelligent, but just because they do not have English skill, they cannot continue their higher education. Okay, so for higher education, English is must. So this is the situation of Kenyans and all the colonized people in India, Kenya, Sri Lanka, Pakistan, Bangladesh. All the colonized people face this problem. Okay, and now what is the result of this? Okay, so what is the result of this? Gikuyu's oral literature is completely stopped. Okay, so they want to go for higher education and improve the standard of life. For that there is no need for learning their mother tongue, that is Gikuyu language, and people's lifestyle itself has completely changed, and the traditional pattern of small children working and playing in field, and then at the evenings at the fireplace they simply tell all the traditional stories, that is oral literature. Everything is stopped. Okay, now they are studying. The Kenyans are studying American and British classics, that is Shakespeare, Ben Jonson, Dr. Faustus. These things only they are studying. Okay, their own Gikuyu language, their own oral literature stories were completely stopped. Slowly and steadily, the Gikuyu's oral literature is stopped. Fortunately, Tamil literature were written in palm leaf. Okay, in most of Tirukural, most of the Tamil literature were written in palm leaf. Of course, Tamil literature has its own oral literature also. Okay, but in Gikuyu language, there is no such kind of palm leaf. They have only oral literature. When this Western system of education is introduced, colonial education is introduced, people forgot their own oral literature. Okay, and thus there is a huge gap between mother tongue and the English language. So thus the huge gap is developed between their mother tongue and the English language. Okay, let me stop here. Let me continue the lesson in the next video. Thank you.